So Beijing has warned Manila against the growing involvement of the US in the modernization of Philippine forces, saying the recent announcements of Washington's $500 million investment would destabilize the region. It said that the US was not part of the South China Sea conflict and that it had no right to interfere in the affairs of Beijing and Manila. And China has used similar warnings against Japan after Tokyo condemned the June 17th Chinese aggressions against the Philippines. Professor Song, so let's analyze, the narrative that China is spreading here.
It's clear it has been a consistent position of China opposing the interference from the outside countries. And it has been Chinese position that it's not good for the Philippines in terms of your security. It's not good for maintaining stability in the South China Sea, and it might escalate tension in the region with that kind of a foreign intervention.
Ray, is there a risk of China's narrative that, there are blocs acting against it, that it's being encircled? Is there a risk that this does appear to be happening?
China created that risk. China created that risk simply by its own aggression, right? So if you are the Philippines, you are a smaller country with a relatively weak maritime force facing a much larger country with an extremely strong maritime force that has been aggressively encroaching into your own maritime zone and has already declared that almost everything in the West Philippine Sea belongs to China. So what are your options, right? China's recommendation is that the Philippines should simply essentially make its best deal to accept China's jurisdiction over the entire West Philippine Sea, and China would then grant rights as it chose into what would then be Chinese waters. The Philippines obviously doesn't want to do that, and so its options, it's the first thing on its list of options is to look to the one country on the planet that it has a treaty alliance with, and that's the United States, which happens to have the ability to show up with $500 million in military aid. So it would be foolish for the Philippines to turn that down. Mm-hmm.